This is going to be the first and last video for the trading day, March the 7th. It's 12:28 a.m. It's the 8th day, but I only have one trade, and that was VRAX, and it ended up being a scratch. And it was just a very simple setup, something that I took way in the morning. And the idea is that it was a downtrending trendline break, so if we take a look at the morning, I do want to go over the trade very briefly, even though this one didn't work out because, it was a trade that I took, and I had essentially a downtrending trend line from here to here. And when I saw that it was breaking past it, I did buy, and that was 100 shares. These were different days, as you can tell by the dates. This was just today's trading at 9:44. I was in at, what is this, 142.62. So right around here is when I got in. Once it opened a candle past this downtrending trend line for sure, not just something that briefly breaks above it like it did right here and then just sells back off, but something that actually opened past it. And the goal for it would have been a move towards VWAP and then breaking above it, and then being in the morning on all of that, a potential short squeeze and run for the day high, and then a break past that would be super nice. And this one I did sell in pieces. I did sell at 946, which was right here, some at 143.3, trying to get 144. I think I'm going to try something different with my selling to try to be more profitable and maybe not use market orders to get out of the trade. At 947, I sold some at 145. And then this really was toxic how it made a move towards VWAP. It didn't break it or touch it, but it made a move towards it and it looked promising. And then it just sold off all ugly and a bunch of red, ugly price action. And it was super bad. I did sell the largest position, 70 shares out of the 100 at 948 in the 141s for this reason, and it ended up being a scratch, unfortunately. And it never got above VWAP. It didn't do it in this range. It did break this level eventually, and it continued to sell off a bit until it actually did do something like that later. But I am considering the idea now that I do have an account funded for short selling in general. I like how this one had a very ugly long-term chart. If you look at it right here, you can see how it had like a move right here, it sold off. It had a move right here, sold off. Another one here, sold off. And then all this volume, another similar one to today, and it just sold off the next day. And the idea is that this thing could have been a short selling setup for a longer period of time because of the fact that it probably could have trapped by now a whole bunch of bag holders who are just going to sell into the next jump like it did today. And the thing that was holding me back is that I haven't really been looking at stocks too much for short selling setups. And on top of that, this could always be the exception to the rule where every short seller just sees this chart and they're just ready to short it and expect another one of these, and then it does the complete opposite, and then it just becomes a super big short squeeze. We did have, I don't know if I still have them, but yeah, we did have like a few stocks that did something like that. I have like these really ugly long-term charts and they just squeeze like crazy. I don't really see a good example here. But that is something that I've seen, but maybe in the future I can have more confidence to consider short selling and just take into consideration that more often than not it is going to downtrend, especially with how clear this chart looked, um, you know, to be as a red flag for any potential long-term setup. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for today, or I guess the 7th. God willing, I'll be able to trade later today after I sleep. That's all I have for this day, being the 7th of March.